Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio, one day away from the start of the Oxford Regional. We'll talk a good bit of baseball today, but we'll talk some coaching search today. Specific name might have popped up in some circles yesterday regarding an LSU search. It looks like Texas A&M has its next coach, even though that hasn't been reported anywhere that I've seen. We'll hit those things and more. We'll take a few of your questions. Look at ELO ratings for a few regionals as well as the podcast moves forward. So good show for you today. Hope you guys are enjoying your morning. 9:38. We are hitting the button, just letting you know in case something burns down here in a couple hours. We will have already recorded by then. So nonetheless, podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. When you're coming to town for the regional this weekend, hearing that pretty much been more tickets sold for this one than any other one. There's going to be a madhouse in Oxford this weekend. Stop into the Blue Sky.
That is terrifying. It is just terrifying.
You're losing sleep, I know. So.
I am. CNN said we should give this 2 more weeks, and I think we should listen to CNN.
Postpone the entire thing?
Well, we just had Memorial Day. We don't know. We need to wait 2 weeks to see if we have a spike.
Yeah. Check out the Blue Sky. On Highway 6 West, all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. You get the lunch special for $5.69 every single weekday, 2 sides of bread, 32-ounce drink. And when you download the Speed Pass Plus app, you earn points. When you earn points, you save money there with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is absolutely up to you. You can shop it around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline, Rafters Music and Food on the Square. Probably be a great place this weekend if you're coming up for the regional, before games, after games, during games, whatever the case may be. Stop by Rafters, enjoy a burger, po' boy, their shrimp appetizer that I like so much. A lot of stuff that's there. They got a great beer selection, full bar. You can also stop by Rafters on the water out at Sardis. Frozen margaritas, frozen daiquiris, great waterfront views there at Rafters on the water. And then, of course, Rafters on the Square in Oxford and in New Albany.
15 years ago, you basically get fired because you pull for ULM against Alabama. Today, we're wearing a La Tech shirt, again pulling against Alabama this weekend. Jesus Christ, Neal, 14, 15 years later,
Trolling
you're still at it again.
Trolling the Tide, that's me. No, Brody Miller has a great story in the Athletic today about Louisiana Tech and Ruston and the tornado that went through, and made me kind of sentimental.
Okay. They sent you some good stuff, though.
They did. They sent me some cool stuff. I'm cheering. I'm absolutely cheering for Louisiana Tech this weekend. Shoot me.
And next weekend if they play Arkansas.
And next weekend, because Louisiana Tech in Omaha would be an awesome story.
That would be pretty neat.
It would be a phenomenal story.
That would be pretty
Now, do I think they can go to Fayetteville and win a super regional? I don't.
It'd be a tough pull.
Be a tall mountain to climb.
Yeah.
But, yes, that would be really
Look,
cool.
anybody can win 2 out of 3.
Sure.
I mean, anybody.
Sure.
So,
but yeah, it's a great story. 22 months without a stadium, having to practice on Little League fields sometimes. They got kicked off a field because the Little League team had it reserved.
That's funny.
I mean, that's real. Actually played some games at Ruston High School.
Did they?
Yeah. It was remarkable. Nobody quit. Guys stayed. It's a cool story. Burroughs got offered multiple head coach, assistant coaching jobs where he would have made more than he was making at Tech, but something just kind of kept him there. And then one of the really wild parts of the story that I did not know, and again, I know people who live in Ruston, obviously, and have talked to them about the tornado. That tornado, you've never been to Ruston, I don't think.
No.
Ruston has train tracks that run right through town.
Okay.
And on the other side of the tracks is where the Tech campus is. It's a small town. And that tornado basically followed the tracks, and it was headed right towards, if you've ever gone to J.C. Love Stadium, you know that up the hill from the baseball stadium is where the main campus is. And right up that hill is a bunch of apartments, dorms, I guess. And on the other side of that is a lot of their classroom area, the main building where you go like for orientation and stuff. And it was headed for that, but it hit the grandstand out in right field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, hit the main grandstand and bounced up. That basically served as a ramp. And so the tornado went up the ramp, over the dorms, and then back down again to hit the softball field.
Wow.
So the stadium really sort of served as a bodyguard.
Yeah, it protected everything else.
2 people died in that tornado, but had the stadium not been where it was,
much worse.
Because for whatever reason, this happened at 2 a.m, and people were asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother lives a mile and a half from the Tech campus, and I called him the next day. Are you okay? He said, "What are you talking about?"
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't hear it. And so, yeah. Anyway.
Fascinating.
It was.
So I made a message board post yesterday. It got alerted last night. Or sorry, made a message board post this morning. Got alerted last night that LSU is struggling exactly where they're going with their coaching search at this point. I think that's probably a fair way to put it. Dan McDonnell was not interested. I know that off the top. Kevin O'Sullivan is not fitting the profile that maybe they would like for their next head coach, meaning they would like squeaky clean in every way, at least to some moderate extent because of what is potentially going on in football, and they'd like other sports to behave as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point that I talked to multiple people yesterday who said that Cliff Godwin simply being single could be a derailing of his candidacy to some extent.
I was told the same thing.
Yeah, so they are looking for a certain type of person, a certain profile more than person, I guess I should say.
Yes.
It's not like Cliff's a bad guy, just not married. And look, Cliff could still get the gig. Who knows? I mean, a lot of stuff happens around this thing. But nonetheless, there are a few power brokers, if you will. I believe Skip Bertman being one, that at least is pushing for Mike Bianco to get relevance in the LSU head coaching position. The LSURivals.com site yesterday reported that he is absolutely at least in the mix from an LSU perspective, even alluding to they would potentially try to get him on a plane at some point next week for whatever that would be required. Now, there's no way in hell Mike Bianco's doing a formal interview at LSU on Monday or Tuesday, I wouldn't think. But nonetheless.
Or period.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah. That felt a little whatever. But point being, it's an interesting push. It's an interesting deal. If somebody told me today, hey, you're not going to believe this, Mike Bianco is in a scandal, I would never believe it, no matter if I had proof right in front of my eyes.
Nope. You could show
me.
Could show me the photos, and I'd say that's Photoshop.
Yeah, no way in hell.
Yep.
So from that standpoint, look, from an LSU perspective, do I think it's going to get here? No. But the people who want Mike Bianco, they see a few different things. They see squeaky clean. They see won a shit ton of regular season baseball games over 21 years.
Still a young guy.
And they see more resources at LSU to, at least in their minds, believe that the games he hasn't won at Ole Miss in crunch time, he would win in Baton Rouge. That's at least the theory that those guys are playing out in this. What I think is actually going to happen, or what is happening, is that some power brokers are more ahead of these guys that are pushing for Mike, are appeasing a little bit, are listening, and have other people they want to hire. But there's enough big sticks in the room that they have to at least listen and play this out as it moves forward.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just blow Skip Bertman off.
And you got to listen to Skip
at LSU. Because here's the thing. And by the way, there's a couple things in the thread I'll touch real quick because otherwise they'll get away. That was a crazy play in the Cubs game yesterday. I'm hoping both of the Padres are okay that were involved in it. Tommy Pham looked like he was more pissed off than he was hurt. It was a wild play. It also shows you how good Major League Baseball umpiring is. And speaking of Major League Baseball, just real fast, kudos to them for Lou Gehrig Day.
Yeah.
Big time, big success. Steve Gleason was at Wrigley yesterday for Cubs Padres. His son Rivers threw out the first pitch.
Saw that. Yeah.
Super cool. If you watch that and you didn't get a little lump in your throat, you might want to go to the doctor and get checked. Your heart might not be working. But yeah, it was really cool. So anyway, back to LSU. So you talked to some people. I talked to some people. I don't think we talked to the same people. What I was told was this. They were pretty far down the road with O'Sullivan at Florida. Like, I think the deal was done. And the deal might still be done. But LSU's really worried about image right now. They have taken a beating with this football thing. They've taken a beating with Will Wade. Here's the dirty little secret at LSU. They'd love to fire Will Wade, but they don't want to have to pay Will Wade. They want to fire Will Wade with cause. And right now they can't because there aren't NCAA accusations at this point, allegations. They don't exist. There's an investigation that takes 10 years, so we'll see. But they're worried about a bomb falling in football, though. They know that there's a potential that this football thing – I'm not talking about the NCAA here. I'm talking about image of a program completely out of control from a sexual assault standpoint.
Right, yeah.
From the way that young women inside the program have been treated.
I think potentially worse than Baylor.
Yes. They're really concerned. Obviously, they're hoping it all sort of blows over and it goes away and that they win football games and this disappears and et cetera. But there's concern there that the bomb could fall. And they can't afford in any other sport to have a coach create more scandal. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. They can't afford to have any other sport where, let's face it, football's making the money, basketball makes some money. At LSU, baseball makes a little bit of money, but we're not talking about budget-busting stuff. They can't afford to have somebody on that campus in a position of authority have problems.
Right.
I don't know what specifically it is about O'Sullivan, but I was told the same thing you were told, which was don't know that they can go there. Specifically, I was told he failed a background check.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've heard specifics. It's kind of irrelevant because I'd like to not get sued in case it's a little wrong.
Yes.
But there are very specific things out there that at least appear to be some semblance of truth.
I was told the same thing about Cliff, that just the fact that he's not married is a source
Patello's
of
not married, I don't think.
Concern, and you're not hearing Tony's name at LSU right now.
I think Cliff is ahead of Tony if they go down that route, is what it felt like last night.
I agree.
I was talking to people.
I agree.
Cliff's coach there, knows a lot of people.
I don't think LSU is as interested in Schlossnagle as people think.
When A&M got to Schlossnagle fast, so barring something happening with a cold feet standpoint on Jim's part, he is the next head coach at Texas A&M. They had a very clear 1-2 of they had Tim Tadlock 1 at Texas Tech, and they had Jim Schlossnagle number 2. Tadlock gets this lifetime contract or whatever that thing looks like. And then it looks like they are going to get Schlossnagle's. I've heard some crazy salary numbers, up around 2, maybe even north of 2. I don't know if those will come to fruition, but if so, the price of poker really changes from that standpoint. Too early to really say. I mean, again, if this thing gets more real, then we'll talk about specifics on what do we think would happen, where it would go, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I know Ole Miss is pretty capped from a monetary standpoint. They can't get into a bidding war should something escalate with LSU at this point.
Here's the wild card.
I'm not sure they'd want to.
No, I don't think they do. Here's the wild card with LSU. I think there's some people at LSU that are right now just playing this game who are really wanting to see if they can make a real run at Tim Corbin.
Well, look, here's the deal.
And I believe that, Chase. I do.
Scott Woodward, you talked about this a ton. He wants big hires. I was told that this morning. I mean, we've known that. You've talked about that for a while. But I was told that by a couple of LSU people this morning is that, look, he's obsessed with press clippings on 1A when he makes hires, and those being big names. That's why Pat Casey's name won't go away. Somebody in administration last night at a different school told me, hey, he's here in Vitello, Godwin, Pat Casey. Pat Casey's been retired for at least 2 years. He won 2 national titles at Oregon State. But the Luke Heimlich thing is going to kill Pat Casey in Baton Rouge. I cannot see how in the hell they would hire him, given what happened with that Oregon State pitcher back in the day. Mike would be second-tier big name for Scott Woodward. He wouldn't be O'Sullivan. He wouldn't be McDonald. He wouldn't be Corbin. But to LSU people, he would be at least palatable in that way.
Yeah. He brings a certain degree of splash. Some water would get on the concrete.
Well, the problem with Mike at the LSU job is what I was talking to somebody last night, and they said, look, there's two things that Woodward kind of likes in a coach, either a guy who's won some titles and got rings and whatever, or sort of the young whippersnapper that's up and coming that you go, hey, this dude's on his way. And he goes, Mike's kind of stuck in the middle. He hasn't won enough, but then at the same time, he is 53 or whatever he is, and it's.
Yeah, so they go and they throw a ton of money at Kim Mulkey, and they bring her to LSU, and she's got some ties there. But she has titles. She's got rings. She's got –
oh, look, she's one of the top 5 most decorated women in college in basketball.
She walks to the plate carrying a really big bat.
Yeah. I mean, hell.
Mike doesn't have rings like that. I mean, he's won the SEC. He's done big things.
Done everything but.
He's done everything but, yep. But look, I'm probably a little bit further along than you are from a thought process. If you told me that LSU went digging and found out Tim Corbin, as disgruntled as he is, not leaving.
I don't know how real this is. Somebody told me today to get Tim Corbin from Vanderbilt, they'd have to pay $3 million.
And that's insane now.
So,
I mean, if you're at LSU and you're going to spend $3 million on a baseball coach, you've got to sit back and say, what the hell are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Essentially, he would need an extra $500,000 a year to be hired away from Vanderbilt because they're paying him 2.3, 2.4, whatever it is.
And I just don't think it goes there. Your buddy at Louisville doesn't want it. They're not going to get Schlossnagle. If they can't hire O'Sullivan and they decide that for whatever reason they're just not going to go down the Cliff Godwin trail, suddenly you're at Bianco before you know it. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean,
you're at the Casey Bianco level. What do we do here?
There is a list here. You know, like you have like on a menu, you've got like 6 things, and you keep ordering. I'd like the whatever, and they say, well, we're out of that for tonight. I'd like the special. Nope, we're out of that.
Well, and also,
so at some point you order the burger.
It's also worth noting that baseball, every sport's like this more than fans and we give it credit for, because you really don't have a lot of Power 5 jumping to Power 5 jumping, especially inside the same conference relative to what everybody believes when coaching searches start. But in baseball especially, I mean, when Texas was open, we're talking about one of the top 5 traditional programs in the sport. Hey, this guy and this guy, they end up hiring the David Pierce. Like, okay, like it was fine. You know what I mean? Like you end up not doing whatever. So, look, if I'm in Vegas and I had to throw some money on a wheel, I still would put the money on Cliff Godwin right now as the next head coach at LSU. But there are definitely issues with that. I mean, he's not some overwhelming lock by any stretch of the imagination. And, yeah, you can paint the picture of how this thing gets complicated toward at least Mike's tier pretty quickly. So
okay, so I'm going to ask the question.
Tease it. We need to.
All right, I'll tease it. That's fine. But I don't want to do the show where people are like, you guys are afraid to talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's an elephant in the room.
And you don't mean a Tide one?
No, not the Roll Tide elephant. Okay. They're in trouble this weekend, Rustin Strong and all. The elephant in the room is if Keith Carter and people at Ole Miss had their druthers to be their coach next year, would it be Mike Bianco or would it be Cliff Godwin?
Yeah, talk about it. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Tyson there in Holly Springs on the Square. G&M 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. They offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. Whether it's one trip to the pharmacy or one delivery, you have what you need when you need it with G&M. So find out what your local pharmacy can do for you. Again, the phone number is 662-236-2222.
Join Coach Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels in the Vault this season. Season tickets packages start at just $199. Can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lammon's at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. It's been serving the Oxford area for more than 73 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lammon's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com. Or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. Comer Heating and Air is the name you can trust with more than 50 years of experience, professional experience in HVAC in Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. 662-801-1777. Brought to you by the College Corner, one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. Also, collegecornerstore.com and you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day with the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And we're brought to you by Pinnacle. Pinnacle based in Madison, Mississippi, but they've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states. What they do is they sit down with you, they listen to your goals, they study your expenses, and they put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's built just for you. Go to pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. It's not too late to book that summer vacation that you and your loved ones will be talking about for years to come. Just get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and then sit back. He'll give you a ton of options, as detailed or as simple as you would like. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
Just quick news aside here. Doug Nikhazy named a first-team All-American by Collegiate Baseball. He is the Rebels' fourth ever two-time All-American in the sport. So Nikhazy getting it there. The three others: Jake Gibbs, Paul Husband, and then Stephen Head is the only three-time All-American in program history.
Gotcha. I would not have won that trivia contest.
You wouldn't have gotten that one?
Nope.
Okay. Which way on the?
I may have known Stephen Head.
Okay, that'd been it.
That's it.
Yeah. We know, like from a trivia question standpoint, I kind of forget about Gibbs sometimes. Like, he doesn't really go through my head always when I'm thinking back into that era for some of those things. So look, it's a complicated deal, and I don't want to put words in Keith's mouth or anything like that. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think he's happy with the job Mike's done this year, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think he believes Mike has done a much better job over the last few years, 18, 19, 20, 21 specifically. Because that 18 year, I get that Monday went horribly wrong, but Mike was coaching really good baseball at that point.
Yeah, of course.
Here's what you want to do. You've got to weigh everything. Mike, we've talked about this 1,000 times. I'm trying not to say the same things over and over again. He's a 9.5 regular season baseball coach.
Yeah, one of the best.
The record speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
They never suck. They're not really average, hardly ever.
No, they host a lot of regionals.
They do. They host a lot of regionals. This is 10 in 20 years. Let's do the math.
Every other year.
Yeah, do the math. So that being the case is that there's a certain security to that for an athletics director. Mm-hmm. There is. It's real. They sell tickets. Money matters. You know, you're going to fill it up. And to this point, while
like
fans,
you said at the beginning, it's going to be packed to the gills this weekend.
Fans may be disgruntled. Fans may be pissed off at times, but they keep showing up.
Yeah.
You don't have the apathy from the fan base at, frankly, any point since 2013, if we're honest. That's the last time you had any apathy from the Ole Miss baseball fan base. So while the message boards and social media and whatever can call for heads and different things, nobody's showing it with their pocketbook right now. Everybody's coming to the park pretty damn excited on a game day.
I think Keith is smart enough to know that Twitter's not the real world.
Exactly. Yeah. So all those things being true.
RebelGrove.com is the real world.
It is, absolutely.
Twitter's not.
The message board is perfect.
Yes.
Love you guys. In saying that, though, he hasn't won enough postseason games. Yeah. Anybody would tell you that. It is a very complicated decision. It is something – I don't know – getting to your question, I'm not ducking it. I think the answer is a little more complicated because I think you can be fine with Mike Bianco as your head coach and not miss out on all the guys that you want to be in the next era of Ole Miss baseball. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like, there is a window that if you believe that Cliff Godwin is going to be your coach at some point, you've got to go get Cliff Godwin. There's got to be a time
where – Well, that's my point.
Yeah, there has to be a time where if there's any hope at all of grabbing Dan McDonnell, it's today. You know, that kind of thing.
That is my point.
Well, and here's the thing, too.
Because if Cliff Godwin takes the LSU job next Tuesday, he's not coming to Ole Miss in a year.
And whether it's today, tomorrow, or in 8 years, look, it's crap that you can't go out and hire a baseball coach if you fire Mike Bianco. That's crap. You can go hire somebody for $1.2 billion.
Of course.
However, your profile does change a little if Mike leaves on his own. With some of the people we're discussing. Like Dan McDonnell, and I'm not saying Keith is going after Dan. I'm not saying he would be on the freaking list. My point is that like a Dan McDonnell, for hypothetical purposes, is much more likely to say yes after Mike leaving than firing Mike. It just is what it is.
Like he's not coming if they fire him.
Yeah, that. That too, sure.
I mean,
it's whether you get him on the phone or not, actually. But either way. So now look,
it's a big weekend for Mike.
It's a huge weekend for Mike.
I mean, if he loses,
it's a huge weekend.
If he doesn't win the regional,
he will have lost 3 of his last 4.
People will be screaming mad. And if he does win the regional, well, it's frankly 2 years in a row because you can't hold 20 against him. It's 2 years in a row that you're in a super regional, which is the Sweet 16.
It is.
And you're not firing Sweet 16 coaches. Frankly, you're not talking about firing Sweet 16 coaches. And frankly, most Sweet 16 coaches get raises.
And Mike has a considerable College World Series bonus in his salary, but his salary now, or his contract now after the debacle that was Ross Bjork's contract with him in 2014.
I'm telling Ross you said that.
Go ahead. It's fine. It was, at the time, I understood why it made sense. In hindsight, it didn't work out very well, okay? That's what happened with Ross. So for anybody that's new, Ross's contract with Mike after 2014 was that he has a base contract, and then whatever his bonuses are for that year, they get added on, and that becomes his base the next year. Well, nobody really expected over the next 7 years or however long that Mike would do every damn thing else other than go to Omaha. So he hits all these different bonuses and all these different bonuses, but then he doesn't get the College World Series to have that pay off, and it just becomes a top 5 salary in the country with a guy who's been to Omaha one time in 20 years. I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah.
So that has been repaired to some extent.
You say Mike's agent won that negotiation
with Ross?
I'm saying that
Patrick had a really good day that day. Yeah, whatever day that was, he did all right. Christmas cards and whatnot. Now, he has huge incentives for big postseason accomplishments, but they had to get a little bit of a handle on the base contract situation.
Yeah.
They've done that. So,
yeah.
I mean, Ole Miss doesn't need to be paying $2 million for a baseball coach.
No.
So, I mean, they're very competitive at 1.2.
You can't justify it.
Yeah. Omaha is the Final Four. You don't have to get to the Final Four in Omaha to get to the Final Four. It's the same connotation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the Sweet 16 thing doesn't exactly work. But
yeah, we go from 16 to 4 in a way from a.
It's kind of like that in basketball too. I mean, you hear if you make the Sweet 16, it's a big deal. I mean, you don't really talk a whole lot about, hey, he's an Elite 8 coach. It's more they make the Sweet 16's the one thing, and then when you make the Final Four.
And I know some people in here are saying, well, no, Omaha's the Elite 8. Well, no, the problem is that nobody goes, hey, they made the semifinals of the College World Series. No, you either made it or you didn't.
Right.
And then you either won it or you didn't. Maybe if you played in the finals.
You hang a College World Series banner if you make the College World Series.
Like Ole Miss didn't hang a third-place finish banner or wherever their banners are.
Right.
Yeah.
You either make it to Omaha or you don't.
Yeah. Just like you either win a regional or you don't. And that's why they're starting Derek Diamond, by the way.
Yes. Well, I tweeted that yesterday. It's the right decision because there is no second place in a regional. There's first place, and then there's the others. There's no difference between finishing second in a regional or finishing fourth in a regional.
Hey, he's the regional runner-up. Okay, awesome.
Get you nowhere. So it doesn't matter whether you get bounced in 2 straight games or whether you fight to Monday night. It just doesn't matter. You either win the regional or you lose the regional.
Somebody shakes hands or dog piles, and 3 teams don't.
3 teams lose the regional, and 1 team wins it. And so the goal is to get to the next round. My point is if on Monday or Tuesday, and I won't be with you, but if on Monday or Tuesday you're talking about a regional championship, got to give some kudos at that point because that's 2 years in a row, again, that you're in the super regional. Hard at that point when you start criticizing that, you're nitpicking. Now, if they don't win the regional, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, there's no just baseline in this situation. It's either, hey, hell of a job, or see, lost again. Like that's it.
Absolutely.
There's
no middle ground.
Yeah, that's kind of what we thought. No, that doesn't exist. No, because if you get to the super regional, he lost Hoagland, he lost Elko for a while, he lost Chopey, Peyton Chatney was out, Kel Baker was hurt. Like oh my God, great coaching job,
sure,
fantastic, 21 SEC wins, and then you lose and go, yeah, he lost 3 of the last 4 regionals at home, 3 of the last 4. That's it. And he lost to Utah. Lost to Tulane.
It's steak.
Lost to Tennessee Tech.
It's steak or beans, man.
Yeah, lost to the worst at Florida State team in 15 years. I mean, I don't know. But.
I mean, it's literally if you win, you get the most glamorous steak dinner possible, and if you lose, they just throw a can of beans at you. They don't even open it. Just here, have at it. It's night or day. Is that fair? No, it's the way it is. It's the way it is.
It's fascinating from just a human standpoint, a a sports media standpoint, the whole deal. I mean, it's. Yeah, I know. I'm getting blown up on Twitter about the Diamond story by some dude. He's very upset.
Upset at you for writing
He
about
said it just makes no difference who you pitch either day. That there's no way to prove it's the right decision. That it does not increase Ole Miss's chances of winning whatsoever. Well, that is not true.
It's not true.
A little bit. I mean,
no.
But the hidden thing to that too.
Are you going to? I mean, look, you're going to play Southeast Missouri on Friday, and you're either going to play Florida State or Southern Miss on Saturday. Which one of those teams is better?
Well, whichever on Saturday.
Yeah, so you want your best pitcher going on Saturday.
Yeah, it's what I wrote in the story, but got kind of hidden behind just, oh, God, can Ole Miss score? There's another side of this, too. Derek has much more chance of success against Southeast Missouri, A, because they're not very good offensively, and B, because they don't hit the ball out of the ballpark. And Derek's problem is giving up home runs. Derek has given up 12 home runs in like 66 innings this year. Doug has given up 7 home runs in considerably more innings this year, 78, something like that.
They don't see his stuff week in and week out the way that SEC hitters do.
Yeah, I mean, Derek has a chance to overwhelm SEMO with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. There's not a lot of those in the OVC.
And those exist in the SEC. They're everywhere. Yeah. You saw them.
Florida State will have seen that plenty.
Of course.
From North Carolina and Louisville. And
Southern Miss will have seen it.
Yeah. So it gives Derek the best chance for success. Forget how many runs Ole Miss is going to score. What Mike did is go, hey, Doug's fine against anybody, whatever. We'll roll him out there, and if you beat him, we'll hat tip. But you have to give Derek the best chance for success, and doing that, it's on Friday versus on Saturday. There's just no doubt about that. Look, it's a difficult decision only because of second guessing. It's not a difficult decision from a sheer analytical standpoint. It's just not. So they'll roll Derek out, and then they'll hand Doug the ball. And as I wrote yesterday, there are some aces that get in their feels and emotional and whatever. Doug does not care. Just hand him the ball whenever, and he's fine with it. So that plays a role into it. Like if it had it gone the other way and Doug had been the one that had gotten hurt, I do think you have to wonder mentally with Gunner, hey, does he feel better one day or another, or how this plays into it? But it doesn't with Casey. He doesn't care. So.
No. Well, Doug probably rather
give me Florida State or Southern Miss, and we'll
let me go do it.
Yeah. No, he wants the ball in the big moment.
Yeah, he's very similar to Pomeranz in that regard.
Yeah. No, that's a bigger game after Derek wins. I'll do that one.
I think it's absolutely the right call. And if it backfires and goes to hell in a handbasket, I'll still say it was
But that's
the right
thing.
call.
It doesn't really backfire. You just didn't win.
Right.
That's the deal, too. I mean,
the gamble you take, look, I'll say this. I mean, I'm sure Dylan Dodd's a really good pitcher. I'm sure he's going to get drafted. I'm sure he's going to pitch in the minor leagues and have an opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. But Ole Miss sees those kids all the time. Mm-hmm. This isn't the first time Ole Miss has faced a good pitcher. Have you looked at the SEC? Who doesn't have a good pitcher?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Missouri's got an arm.
Well, they do. I mean, Auburn went, 11 and 19 or whatever?
10 and 20.
Yeah, and they've got a couple of dudes who can.
Yeah. Cody Greenhill would pitch for SEMO.
Of course. He'd be their ace.
Yeah.
A&M had pitchers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Florida was the number 6 team in the league, and they had arm after arm after arm after arm.
They might have the deepest staff in the country.
LSU went, they go 13 and 17, and Landon Marceau can. Yeah. I'm going to guess he'd make the SEMO roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you play in a league where you play Arkansas every year, you play LSU every year, you play Mississippi State every year. God knows they've got arms. I mean, you see arms in this league, and so hitters have seen it. That's why the whole oh my God, they have a good pitcher. Okay, but you play teams that have good pitchers. I'll say it. Look, you just got through playing a regional essentially with Georgia, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
you're the best team in this regional, and you should win it. Yes, Southern Miss is a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah.
But they finished 3rd in CUSA.
Yeah.
They're a good team. I'm sure Florida State's a fine team. But they have an RPI of 45. And SEMO is SEMO. If you come out of that as anything other than the regional champion, it's failure. And on the flip side, if you win that regional and you're in a super regional next weekend, again, you're right back on the cusp of Omaha, and I think people forget because there's been this pandemic and all that stuff in between, but the last time that Ole Miss was in the NCAA tournament, they were playing on a one-game winner-take-all in Fayetteville.
They were.
I mean, it's hard to criticize that.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think it's unfair to criticize that.
Right. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Settle County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting. It understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
I'm laughing.
I know.
It's the nicest criticism I've gotten in a while. Yeah. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB has a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. Alpha is your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. They're the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail, which is the premium brand trailer, the highest quality utility equipment dump and gooseneck trailers being built today. They also have Hallmark cargo trailers. They can work with third parties to have game day trailers and concession trailers built just for you. They also have a full selection of trailer parts and accessories. And they have a full-service shop that can repair all types of trailers. So get in touch with them at 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. And brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Blue Delta makes the best-fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at bluedeltajeans.com. Father's Day is a couple weeks away, so don't wait until the very last minute to get a gift for the father in your life. A custom pair of Blue Delta jeans. It's a great way to show you care and give a gift that will bring a lifetime of joy. Go to bluedeltajeans.com to purchase a gift card that can be redeemed in person or online, or contact the folks at Blue Delta to schedule an in-person fitting for the dad in your life. Don't forget to use the code Rebel Grove online. That's Rebel Grove, one word, all lowercase, online or in person for 10% off any pair of Blue Delta jeans.
So College Split's Twitter account does ELO ratings, which ELO is a pretty popular thing in college baseball, really across sports. I think it's a chess thing. It's how it started. Major League Baseball uses it. College baseball uses it. Some different people use it. It's essentially probably a little better system than RPI to give relative strength to teams. But yeah, again, chess thing that's been whatever. But they turn ELO ratings into a percent chance of teams advancing out of the regional. I don't have all of them here, but a few of them. Giving Texas a 66% chance, Arizona State a 9, Fairfield a 25, and then Southern a 0.5. But they do admit, just like RPI, Fairfield played no out-of-conference games, so nobody really knows what the hell to do with them. That probably should be a higher number for Arizona State and a lower number for Fairfield, but they can't factor it in. They have no way to do that statistically. Vanderbilt, 68% chance of winning the Nashville Regional. Georgia Tech, 13. Indiana State, 14. And Presbyterian 5 if you would.
I'll take the under on Presby.
Yeah, the 4 seeds are overvalued here because from an ELO system, they kind of do the anybody can win 3 games thing. But,
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. All right. That's cute. That's
this is
fine.
where if you could talk to the computer, you'd say, "Come on, man."
Yeah. Like take whatever that is, divide that by 10, and then go.
Yeah,
like that's fine. Just bump that on Vanderbilt, and we'll be all right. In fact, because if somebody gave you. I mean, that's not crazy odds. I mean, if somebody gave you 250 to 1 or minus 250, you would take that on Vanderbilt to win that regional
all day.
You go 2.5 to 2 to 1 essentially.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean that's all that is like a minus 220 money line
all day.
Yeah, that's okay. Sure, awesome. Let's see, Fayetteville, Arkansas 76, Nebraska 10, Northeastern 12. I do really like Northeastern to get in the final of that regional. And then the New Jersey Institute of Technology, 2% there after their riveting forfeit from Stony Brook in the whatever the hell conference.
Their social media has been pretty funny.
It has, yeah, it really has.
Yeah.
They understand the score as they head to Fayetteville this weekend.
Yeah, they get it.
Ole Miss, 53% chance of advancing out of the Oxford Regional, so a little better than half. Southern Miss, 19, Florida State, 23, and then SEMO, 5. Again, 4 seeds are overvalued, but that is what it is. That number, I don't hate it relative to the other 2 teams. That makes more than 2-to-1 chance of Ole Miss getting out versus each of the other 2 teams. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
If you told me that either Southern Miss or Florida State outslugged Ole Miss on a Monday, I'd get it, sure.
East Carolina, 53%. Charlotte, 19%. Maryland getting 27% out of the Big Ten there from a runner-up standpoint.
Sure.
I found that interesting for whatever reason. I'm probably the only one. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, that might be all they've even. I didn't think that was all they've done, but all I'm seeing at the moment. So whatever, that's fine. Let's see. Where are we going next? What do we have? Oh, you got a few questions. Let's see what's brought up on the board.
Oh yeah, I forgot you did that.
Yeah, we have some uniform stuff too, but we can always do that another day. It's not going anywhere. First time I've seen somebody try to trick our message board with a golf thread. Zach put a breaking on a Corey Hinkus subject line a minute ago.
Zach's the guy that sometimes pokes the snake.
Yeah, she's National Coach of the Year, by the way.
Oh, good for her. Congratulations.
Yeah. Seems a little no-brainerish. Ole Miss Banker saying anyone tracking flights to Baton Rouge? No. However, somebody did actually say that sentence to me this morning, and I just wanted off the phone at that point. So I was done at that moment.
If you told me that Mike, quote, interviewed for LSU, I would tell you that meant a very private Zoom call.
Yeah.
That's it.
On like an encrypted line.
There's a 0% chance that he goes down there to, quote, interview.
He's not going to the Baton Rouge Marriott and sitting in the conference room and...
Here's my resume, 21 years. You either like it or you don't.
I know the program better than you do, so feel free.
Come on.
My kid plays on the team.
I mean, come on.
Like, it's what it is. If Bianco goes to LSU, not that you will get to, who are the first 5 people you tell Keith to call in order? He's going to call 2. He's going to call Dan McDonald and Cliff Godwin. I don't know. I mean, I don't need 5, but if you feel the need, sure.
Surely they would take enough time that we could milk a hot board for a little while, right? I wonder if I could talk
Keith, go, look, that's cool, but you just wait 10 days.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking.
Give us 10 days.
I've been good to you. 10 days. That's it.
Because they rushed that football thing from we needed the suspense. We needed the Kiffin suspense to go 3-4 more days because we were selling subs, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some other dudes, but that just depending on which direction you want, what type of profile, that makes a ton of sense to me in a lot of different ways. You don't need Ole Miss ties, but I do think you need ties to prominent recruiting areas, and you need ties to understanding the scholarship inequities. That's what you need. It doesn't have to be SEC even. It doesn't have to be Ole Miss specific, but you need those type of dynamics with the next coach. I do buy that completely.
Oh, by the way, Avery makes a great point here.
What's that?
Please put Mike Shula on the hot board. If we ever have a hot board, just put Mike Shula on it because it would be high comedy and really funny. And
I'm sure he could.
I would be appreciative.
Fair. Predict one player that come out of nowhere to play a key role in the postseason. Out of nowhere, the roster's pretty set.
Calvin Harris.
That's not bad. If he told me he started a couple games,
ran into a couple
crazy,
fastballs,
sure. That you just like him because he's from Dubuque.
Home away from home.
Home away from home that you've never actually been to.
Never been, but I have a feeling I'd love it.
How far is it from Omaha?
Dubuque.
Yeah, is it a long way? Is it like the other side of Iowa?
Hey Siri, how far is it from Omaha, Nebraska to Dubuque, Iowa?
Dubuque is about 356 miles from
Omaha.
336.
So the whole other side of the horn.
Yeah.
Because like Council Bluffs is just right there across the river, but it must be a long way
Dubuque
across.
is no Council Bluffs,
It's
buddy.
not. Well, the Council Bluffs does have that nice Hilton with the casino in it. Probably some dog tracks nearby or something. I don't know. Let's see. What else we got? Rebs go 3-0 this weekend.
Yeah. I think so.
I think they go 2-0 and then have to win on Monday night. And they do.
Okay. I think they go 3-0 and they win it on Sunday.
Okay. That's fine. We really have no new details on the Title IX stuff at LSU, right?
No.
Yeah. I have no idea what Lane's short list of OC candidates would be, assuming Lebby gets a new gig.
No clue.
No idea. If Ole Miss has a comfortable lead after the 7th of game 1 and Diamond is finally in the dugout, Johnson or Broadway to close. Well, I mean, the hope is that you wouldn't have to do either if you're
comfortable lead.
Yeah,
I might do something completely different.
I'm handing Austin Miller somebody the ball and saying, how's it go for him? Tyler Myers, actually. Yeah, you hand Tyler Myers the ball. Yeah. Unless you – does Mike, in his head at all, think he has to hold Myers for Monday?
You have to think about it after the other day.
That's the question I think you'd have to roll around in your head is he my Monday guy?
I might hand the ball to Wes Burton and just go finish it.
Yeah. Calm down just a touch so you actually don't wear yourself out the first 12 pitches.
Chill a minute.
Yeah. Score prediction for both games Friday. I think Southern Miss beats Florida State 6-3. I think Ole Miss beats SEMO 9-2.
Oh, we're really close. I was going to say 8-2.
Okay.
And I was going to say 6-4 Southern Miss over Florida State.
Okay.
Although if you told me that game got a little higher scoring, I'd buy it.
Yeah, that's fine. SEMO, I just think they eventually get to Dodd, and then from what I've been told about the bullpen, they might add on a little and get a little stupid. And that's when you look up and Mike, if that happens that way, you really get to pat yourself on the back. You go, hey, I didn't waste Doug when we scored 9 runs.
Because that would be the waste, is that Doug goes out there and
you win 10-0,
throws a gem and they can't touch him, and you look up after 6 innings and you're up 8-0. Yeah. You're like, this was stupid.
Yeah.
This was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more the issue there. Is cereal a soup? No.
No.
I don't really know why, but no.
No, it's because
it takes more than just one ingredient being added to liquid, right?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Nothing's – I get – because like even gazpacho or something is still cooked to a relative sense.
Yeah.
Like you can't just dump one ingredient into liquid and it be soup.
I don't think so.
If animals could talk, which do you think would be the rudest? Cats.
Yeah.
Complete and utter assholes.
Well, but
they don't hide it.
You'd have to pretty much respect the fact that they're transparent and that they really don't care that someone's coming in here to murder you and the family.
They're your owner, actually. It's not the other way around.
Just you're in their way, and they tolerate you.
You feed them.
Yeah.
You make life a little easier for said feline.
Yeah. You think a cat would love? You think a cat loves you?
Oh.
You think a cat feels like love? Honestly,
you don't think any cats feel love?
I don't know.
To some extent, right? Or is acknowledgement as far as you get?
I don't know.
I mean, some do like come up and rub.
Yeah, but that's like, hey, I got some needs here.
Yeah, and you want to scratch? Cool.
Yeah, it's almost like they think you're there for their physical.
Whereas any dog pretty much loves you, just period.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they get their connotations well. Dogs are kind of the dumb whatever, and cats looks at them. I mean, it's Garfield all over again.
Yeah.
Was it Odie? Is that the dog in Garfield?
Yeah.
Was it Odie?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Let's see. Yeah, I think we answered that about Bianco. I did not open any threads about shortstops. Let's see. Well, we don't know what somebody says. Saw an SEC head coach salary list yesterday. I was kind of surprised to see Kiffin in the bottom tier, 11th out of 13. Vandy doesn't report. We don't know what his new salary is exactly, so you can't put that on last year's numbers. I mean, everything we've been kind of told is up around the $5 million mark, but I don't know.
I don't either.
I have no idea.
For whatever reason, they've not released that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Mike has put any thought into being fully invested in the Mississippi retirement system into his decisions about a coaching job at this point. I don't see that being a factor. Somebody's asking. I get the question. Now, that would only be relevant to his Mississippi government salary. That would not include any foundation money that is the majority of his salary. So it's not like he gets to just do the 1.2 in the vested system for duration.
That'd be cool if you could.
That would make me a little less motivated to coach baseball. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'd have a little bit of a harder time getting through it at that point and dealing with all the stuff that's associated with it. I did get a text a few minutes ago that there's still from a certain segment down there. There's still a push to just hire O'Sullivan no matter what. That's still ongoing.
I can see that.
Yeah, I definitely could see that.
But if you're him, you can't let this get dragged.
No, it's got to go.
It's got to happen if it's going to happen. You can't let it become a deal that, hey, we were going to hire Kevin O'Sullivan and then we didn't. And now every time he goes out on the recruiting trail, people are like, hey, what is your issue?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful there.
NYC TUP says, why shouldn't McDaniel start tomorrow? His stuff isn't as good, but SEMO's the worst offensive team. Why isn't the best path to 3-0? McDaniel hoses off SEMO, Doug does his thing, and then Diamond has a strong bullpen crush, the winner of the losers bracket. There's a moderation to it. You still won't need to use a gun. And Derek gives you the best chance to overwhelm SEMO without having to use Doug, because look, 3-0 is obviously the goal, but 2-0 is the goal. You use your best two pitchers, however you have to do it to get to 2-0, because then you get 2 extra shots. You can't play around necessarily down the line from there. So no, I think that there was probably never much thought into going that way at that point. So. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, servicing people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 megabytes per second, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford Studio, your hometown team, bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service is available, parental controls, network security, mesh extenders, and more. Still popping up all over Oxford, places that are getting it even this week, next week as well. So call, see if it's in your area, and if so, get the best internet around, 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Duckhead, Halsey, True Grit, and more. The Rogue has delivered fine men's clothing for more than 53 years. Their classic style, attention to detail, and commitment to excellent service continues to make The Rogue a special place to shop. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet in Jackson. Let him help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevrolet vehicles, or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give Joey a call or text on his cell, 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for, or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson to test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting. With any purchased vehicle, just tell him that you heard about his ad on the Oxford Exxon Podcast, and you'll get a $50 gas card.
Saw a question on the thread. No shot Mickey Callaway coaches at Ole Miss at any point.
No.
None.
No.
Nope. I don't know that he coaches in America again.
That's safe.
Yeah. It feels like Dragons or somebody might be
the story comes right back up. The moment that you even no.
I mean, that's Hugh Freeze on steroids from a can't get away from it standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah. It's actually it's worse. Yeah, it's worse. Much worse, yeah. Bobby, thanks for the super chat. He says, what are your predictions for the Tucson Regional? I think we've both picked Oklahoma State to win it.
Yeah. Oklahoma State for sure. Yeah, because there was a few other college split things I didn't see, because that was actually one of them. Oklahoma State had a really high chance of winning in Tucson. And then the other one that I think is absolutely going to happen is UC Irvine was the favorite out west too. So those are two that I feel are. It's an interesting thought. Oklahoma State's a better team than Arizona, frankly. You know, if you're Ole Miss, would you rather go on the road and play Arizona, or would you rather be at home and play Oklahoma State? I could see either way, but I understand the people that go, now we'll go out to the desert and see what happens in Tucson for a few days. I wouldn't debate that if that was the case. Yeah, Brody Miller's story getting a lot of pub today. Seen it all over Twitter.
It's a great story.
I haven't read it yet. Let's see what else we got. We'll briefly mention this. I guess we actually could do it. We got 10 minutes or so. You sent me an article from Tim Britton with The Athletic earlier today, where they rate all the gray road uniforms in Major League Baseball. They put them in tiers. And he has very specific reasons why he has them as they are. I don't agree with all of them, but we love good uniform threads, especially during what is, at least at the end of the podcast, kind of the off season a little bit. we talk about home uniforms all the time. We're always talking about the white ones. We're always talking about what pops there. What sticks out, what doesn't. I'll go to the top 10, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
So I know people listening don't have this up in front of them, but they probably have some knowledge. Number 10, the Chicago Cubs. Chicago across the front. Font's pretty good. Number 9, Toronto. Weird font. Toronto across the front. Red Sox at 8. Braves at 7. Atlanta across the front. Baltimore at 6. San Francisco at 5. Detroit at 4. New York Mets at 3. The Chicago White Sox at 2. And then the Kansas City Royals at 1. Very traditionalist here from Tim because he gives incredibly high scores to any team that makes sure they put the city name on the front of their gray uniforms.
And it should be the city name on the
You're
front.
on the road.
Yeah.
It's our city.
Yeah, this is where we're from. We're representing our city.
You're big on that too.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a disclaimer in some ways.
The home uniform should say Braves. The road uniform should say Atlanta.
And now, that is the case for almost everybody. I mean, I'm flipping through here. Is there anybody who doesn't?
Yeah,
I'm doing
Tampa.
Are they it?
No, they're not it. I went through the whole thing. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
See, I'm down through 20, and
First
everybody
of all,
has.
Kansas City's road uniform is
Oh,
just
St. Louis. It's
fantastic.
Cardinals across the front.
Yeah. And
Hey, traditionalist guys, y'all were supposed to be at everything. What are you doing?
and with the Cardinals, it's just arrogance.
You know where we're from.
You know who we are.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
We
pure
don't tell
arrogance.
you.
Yeah.
The Angels have the name on the front.
Yeah. And no one knows where the hell they're from. It's like,
That's a good
where
point.
are
we,
you
we
from?
could use the help, actually,
Yeah.
guys.
Are y'all Los Angeles or are you Anaheim now? What are you?
Yeah. That
Or
would be good.
California? I mean, you've been 3 different teams.
Phillies are on the front, not Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I don't hate that as much because of their mascot name.
Yeah.
Eh.
Because it's the Phillies. You don't think, oh, they're Arizona. But
And then, the Tampa Bay Rays at the very bottom. They have a hideous uniform. He says, by now you probably intuited the rules that guide my appreciation of road gray uniforms. It shouldn't be a copy of the team's white uniform, which Tampa's is. It should have a team city name on it. It doesn't. When in doubt, script is better. It doesn't have script. It has this weird kind of block logo. And then it should be worn more than an alternate jersey on the road because Tampa just wears their color scheme on gray pants most of the time on the road.
see, I think Atlanta's is better than it gets credit for. And I'm not a Braves fan, so it's not that. I like Boston's a lot, but I don't know how you can rank Boston's that high and then
Turn around.
and rank the Yankees as low. Because the Yankees have this very
And it's so classic and
Yeah.
just traditional.
I mean, it's
and
like that's the uniform that the
he
base.
doesn't like the font and the font size on the Yankees.
He'd like it to be a little bit bigger.
And I like it. He said it's kind of generic or something like that. I forget exactly how he put it.
And I like the Astros. He has them in tier 3, and I think they're better than that.
I didn't give him enough credit for it when I first went through the list, but that White Sox gray is a great road uniform.
It is. It is. It's great. And
He has the Dodgers too low.
See, I would have put Detroit number 1.
Oh, really?
I love their road. I actually love their uniforms.
He has it
period.
4.
Yeah.
You don't mind the piping on the
No.
gray uniform?
I don't mind it at all.
Okay. It's not bad by any means.
Like I think he's got San Francisco too high.
He has Cleveland too low. I like Cleveland's.
It's
Clean,
so basic.
classic.
Yeah.
It's basic, but it works.
I love Baltimore's.
Toronto's is too high. I hate that font.
I don't like the font, and I don't like the little bird underneath the thing.
Oh, it is kind of clouded a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd much rather have a jersey number.
Mm-hmm. The Cubs is good.
The Cubs have a very good road uniform, but they don't like it, and they don't wear it, and they wear the royal blue one all the time. That I can't decide if I like it or not.
It feels only day game at home kind of jersey top, but it doesn't work for me. Given the city, I don't hate the Miami one. Kind of the weird LA, Miami Vice kind of font to it a little bit. It's not bad.
So where do you stand on the Padres? It's kind of the road pinstripe.
I don't like it.
I didn't think I'd like it, and then I watched their series with the Cubs, and by the end of the series, I really liked it.
Did really?
Yeah. So it sort of threw me off.
I think 13, the Rangers, is too low. I
do
really
too.
like the Texas uniform.
And I said this the other day, and I'm going to stick to it. They've got Pittsburgh way too low. I love because Pittsburgh at 19, and I think that's a
You like all their suits.
That's a good suit.
Arizona's too high. Pittsburgh is too low.
They got your boys. You love Brewer suits. Like you've
all home and away. It's the best logo in sports.
They've got their road suit at 20.
That's too low. Now, the problem with Milwaukee is they've gone too dark on the blue. Their best uniform over the last 50 years is that logo, but on the lighter blue.
Right.
The royal blue
blue
with the yellow.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Milwaukee suits.
What I don't like about Milwaukee suits is that when they go to their throwback, it's a completely different color scheme, like you just said. I don't really like that. Like, I like you to be able to have something inside your color scheme.
You want continuity even in the color scheme, though.
Yeah. Like, I think he's got Oakland too low. That's a good suit. Dodgers are way too low because you see that with the red number and everything, and you know right away that's the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah. I like the red number. I'm fine with the red number.
I'm with him on Cardinals and Angels. I'm completely disagree with him on the Yankees.
Is it just because we're so used to the Yankees?
Yeah, probably. Seattle's fine.
I mean, the Yankees look like every high school baseball team in the country.
He's right about Cincinnati. Like, that's a big word. It's everybody misspells it. And they got way too much number fonting and stuff going on with
Do you think it needs to be more basic because of the word that it is?
Yeah, and
it stretches too far across the front of the jersey.
Here's the thing with the Reds.
What if you just put Cincy on the front? Would you look too NBA-ish?
I'd have to see it.
Okay.
What I'd like to see with the Reds is them incorporate the Mr. Redlegs more. Okay. Their mascot's phenomenal.
Yeah. Phillies is fine.
But I get what he's saying here. I mean, and in Tampa Bay, that's just awful.
I don't actually hate the Phillies the more I look at it.
No, I don't hate it.
I'm okay with that.
That's just their uniform, white.
It is the copy of their uniform.
Yeah. Their throwbacks are just fantastic. But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how this gets, because it's getting a lot of conversation. A lot of people are talking about it. And it's interesting to see how worked up people get about uniforms. But notice, none of the grays have that blue gusset underneath. Not a damn one.
Arkansas wears the hell out of its red gusset.
They take pride in it.
They love that gusset.
I mean, Laura doesn't watch baseball. And it was on the other day, and she saw it, and she's like, what is that underneath their shirt? I said, no, that's part of the shirt.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's awful. I'm like, yep.
I mean, they wore it and wore it and wore it and wore it and wore it.
Frankly, you should lose when you wear it.
I mean,
all the suits they have, and they have two or three. And the other suit that they have that I don't like because it's just too busy is the red top that says Arkansas, and then in the swirl it says Razorbacks. It's just too much on there.
It's too much.
It's too much. Now, their cream suit with just
great.
the A is freaking fantastic.
It is. It's good.
Just spectacular. Like, they should go undefeated in that.
Tennessee will pull out some dumb suits this weekend in Knoxville. Ole Miss goes to Arizona. They might wear the grays in a defining season-ending game right there. I mean, have to get up that morning, you get to the locker, and the gray uniform's waiting on you. You have to go.
By the way, Sammy says, but MLB refused a move by Oakland to a mid-level market like OKC. Yeah, OKC's not big enough to support a big league team. There is a strong rumor, and it floated from Tampa, that the Rays are maybe going to get out of their lease and move to Nashville.
Well, that would be interesting.
It's very doable from a money standpoint. And I do think Nashville would support a team.
What did you think about these White Sox uniforms? These South Side uniforms?
Which one are they?
You haven't seen this? They're wearing them June 5th against the Tigers. It's the new City Connect alternate uniforms. They literally have South Side across the front and CHI across the cap. It's like a black and white pinstripe.
That's NBA-ish. Oh. It's not terrible.
It's better than you think when you got to look at it for a minute. And the more you look at it, the better it gets.
Yeah,
I don't love it. I'd never want you to have that as a anywhere near all the time uniform.
If it's a special weekend,
it's got to be a one weekend deal. And then stop. Frankly, if you're going to do that, I would prefer I'd be curious to see what a white jersey with just the black South Side would look like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe they're reversed the wrong way. And they'll sell those caps. The caps look good. They'll sell those.
Yeah, the caps like that, and breaking. That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole deal here. So we'll see. All right. So we'll wrap there. We will have coverage, obviously, the Oxford Regional starting tomorrow. Southern Miss and Florida State, 2 p.m. Ole Miss and SEMO, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Mike Bianco speaking to the media in about 30 minutes or so, so we'll have some coverage of that later today as well. So hope all you guys safe travels if you're coming in town this weekend or whatever you're doing with your weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again very soon.